Hey, how are you? I am Chris Robin, aka at Detroit Beastie, here with Team Riser Fall to talk Thursday Night Football. The Raiders from Vegas go to SoFi Stadium to take on the Rams here tonight. Kickoff is at 8:15 p.m. When we look at the over-unders here, I'm going to be right up front and open and honest with you. This game is like perplexing. It's like a Rubik's Cube. I have a couple different outcomes, and they all come out to one end, like 35-40 over, or it's like 6-10 final score hits the way under, the Rams get blown out. I mean, I don't understand this one, but hey, we're going to try and make sense of it. If you want to stick around, let's do it together. We'll talk some DFS plays and everything else. As I said, this one currently is at 43.5 points over under. It opened at 44.5, so it's come down a full point. That's never a good sign when a football game is kind of going down in points. That leads you to one kind of thing here, and it's going to be the under. Is it a game of unders? Is it going to be low, low, low? We shall see. Before I get into my favorite players, make sure you go to the website at Team Riser Fall, and when you get there, use promo code BC. The key, use that promo code. You'll get $10 off your first month of premium services, and that includes everything, and a Fantasy Cruncher voucher that continues to roll over, and you can crunch until your heart's content. Now let's get back to this game here. So as I'm looking at it, it's a perplexing kind of thing. When I'm looking at my notes here, it's like, Vegas has won. They're 5-7. They've won 3 in a row. I believe they're 2 games off the pace of the AFC wildcard spot. So that this is the time of the season. This is the first game of Week 14, and now we're people have already been talking playoff hunt, playoff chase, but now it gets a little bit more not dicey, but a lot of these games are must-haves for certain teams. And the Raiders, given the division they're in, they have no chance at catching Kansas City. So their best bet is a wild card spot. So can they get that 4th win in a row? When we look at the Rams here, it's just an absolute bummer. Some people would say fall from grace. Stafford's on the IR. He had a concussion, didn't know if he wanted to play. Then they put him on the IR with some sort of neck injury. So to be fair, I don't even know who we're going to see at quarterback tonight for the Rams. John Wolford, Bryce Perkins, Baker Mayfield. It's just like, see what I'm saying? It's either going to be 40-35 or it's going to be a game of field goals here. So let's get right off the bat, and we'll start with Derek Carr. Good old Derek Carr on a Thursday night. What can we expect from Derek Carr? When you look at him, $15,000 on FanDuel, 10-2 on DK, $27 on Yahoo. Of the quarterbacks here, at least we know who's starting for the Vegas Raiders, Derek Carr. I have Derek about 20 completions, 240 yards, 2 touchdown passes, and 2 or 3 carries, 10 yards. Nothing crazy. He likes to move the chains when possible there. When we look at the Los Angeles Rams quarterbacks, again, I've been toying with this idea, actually fighting with myself since last night about this portion of the video. I can't just go, well, I don't know who's going to start for the Rams. We're going to leave it alone. So instead of just saying leave it alone, let's skip past it, I'll give you a couple different scenarios. John Wolford will be active tonight, will be the starting quarterback. On the flip side here, Baker Mayfield will be active as well. Do we see Baker in a couple different packages or plays? I think we do. What about Bryce Perkins here? This kid can move the football in a way, right, with his legs. He likes to skimmy and scamper out there. So to be fair with you, I think we see a little bit of action from all 3 quarterbacks here tonight, which is, I could be crazy for saying that. You could kick me out of the DFS, so however, the fantasy football business here, but what other options do we have at quarterback? So again, I always fade quarterbacks on single game slates within reason, and so to me, I have to account for 3 of them now. Normally, we move the pieces around, and you know this as well as I do. Derek Carr, stack Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs with Devontae Adams, and then we could have run it back with, Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp. Both of those guys are out. They're not playing. So what is the run back? If we're stacking Vegas Raiders, what is the run back here? Well, to me, it's slim pickings. Cam Akers, Kyron Williams, Tyler Higbee. We shall see. But let's move down the list, and we'll talk about Josh Jacobs. And I hold on one more moment as well, if I can. When we look at this thing, I talked about stacking the Vegas Raiders. Everybody on earth is going to do that. So to me, it's not even being contrarian. It's about survival. If we're playing DFS and we want to stack the Rams here, it's just going to be dicey and heavy. And again, whoever wins $1 million tonight, heck, even $100,000, is going to have some sort of combo of at least one of these Rams quarterbacks, whether it's Perkins, whether it is Baker Mayfield or John W. We'll call him John W. here. So, man, this is wild here. So let's talk about Josh Jacobs. Let's talk about what we know first, and then we can kind of theorize and make up and daydream at the end of the video. Josh Jacobs, 16.5 on FanDuel, 12.4 on DK, $36 on Yahoo. Yahoo. Josh Jacobs, he is questionable, but more than likely he's trending in the right direction. When you look at Josh Jacobs, just a man-sized workload here. 25 carries, 110 yards, 3 or 4 receptions for another 25 yards. So we could probably pencil in Josh Jacobs for a touchdown as well. Makes for a nice little anytime touchdown bet here. But we can put in Josh Jacobs for about 130, 140 all-purpose yards because the Rams, they're 8th overall against opposing running backs here. But Josh Jacobs is going to just see so much work, so much so. Does that even make Amir Abdullah or the rookie Zamir White worth a play here? I could see a case here where we stack up Amir Abdullah and Zamir White. Not stack them up, but sprinkle them in elsewhere. Amir Abdullah, he is $6,000 on FanDuel, $3,000 on DK. We're looking at him 2-3 carries, 2 to 3 receptions. Just, I mean, a backup's workload here. So if you can live with it, so can I. When we look at the Rams running backs here, Cam Akers, Kyren Williams, week to week, it's so shady. And Cam Akers finally scored a touchdown last week. That was great to see. And I will say this as well: Vegas 28th overall against opposing running backs. So Cam, $12,000 on FanDuel, $7,800 on DK, and $16 on Yahoo. 15 to 16 carries for Cam, 55 to 60 yards, and a couple receptions for about another 10 yards. When we look at Kyren Williams, we've seen him. He's trended a few times on Sleeper or whatever fantasy app you use because people at this late in the season, people are hungry for running backs, starting running backs. That heck, you can't find that stuff on the waiver wire in deeper leagues. But when we look at Kyren, $7,000 on FanDuel, $5,400 on DK, $13 on Yahoo. Kyren, 7 to 8 carries, about 30 yards, 2 to 3 receptions for another 15 yards. So to me, it looks as though the Rams are going to ride out the season with Cam Akers as their starting running back. And Thursday Night Football, with the quarterback position in complete disarray, what is Sean McVay going to do to kind of combat what the Raiders are doing with Carr and Josh Jacobs? I think we see a steady dose of both of them, but Cam Akers being the more, I don't know, can we say Cam Akers is more talented than Kyren after what we've seen the last few games, heck, the last year or two of Cam Akers' career? When we look at the wide receivers, one guy, I mean, it's like Devontae Adams, Matt Collins, Keenan Cole, Van Jefferson, Tutu Atwell, Ben Skronek. I mean, come on. Devontae Adams, $16,000 on FanDuel, $12,800 on DK, $33 on Yahoo. Devontae Adams, 9 to 10 targets, 6 to 7 receptions, 90 yards, and a touchdown. We can set that one in stone as well. Rams 25th overall against opposing wide receivers. Matt Collins, 9.5 on FanDuel, 7.4 on DK, $16 on Yahoo. Matt Collins, 5-6 targets, 3 to 4 receptions, about 40 yards. When we go down to the Rams wide receivers, I could see a case here where Van Jefferson, Tutu Atwell, and Ben are all heavily involved in this thing, and I could see a case where there's several weird trick plays. I'm not saying fake punts or fake kicks, but what are the chances we get sort of like a direct snap to Tutu Atwell in this one, or Van Jefferson in the Wildcat form? So something strange is going to happen here, so let's be ready for it. I think Van Jefferson, Tutu, and Ben are all in play here tonight. Van Jefferson, 10.5 on FanDuel, 6.4 on DK, $14 on Yahoo. Van Jefferson, 5-6 targets, 3-4 receptions, around 40 yards. Tutu, 6.5 on FanDuel, 4.4 on DK, $11 on Yahoo, 4-5 targets, 2 to 3 receptions, about 35 yards. When we look at Ben, 6.5 on FanDuel, 4.8 on DK, $10 on Yahoo. That's the cheapest you can get on Yahoo. Ben, 4 to 5 targets, 2 to 3 receptions, about 35 yards here. So to me, these three wide receivers, we can just move them around, mix and match. I mean, when we look at the Rams' offensive side tonight, there is literally nothing that jumps off the page. So it's up to us to be inventive when we're kind of building this stuff. Of course, everybody on earth, Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, and Devontae Adams. And it's going to be that it's like no matter what we play tonight, whether it's a big GPP, the Millie Maker, whatever it is, to me, they seem like all of them are cash games because of the simple fact everybody's going to have that trio of Vegas Raiders. So it's up to us to kind of mix and match and fit in a guy like Tutu Atwell or Kyren Williams in with Adams and Josh Jacobs, if that makes any sort of sense here. When we look at the tight ends, Foster Moreau, 8.5 on FanDuel, 6.6 on DK, $13 on Yahoo. Foster, 4 to 5 targets, 2 to 3 receptions, 30 yards, and that is it for the tight end room from the Vegas Raiders. Sure, I looked through the depth chart and I looked at last game in terms of the box score, and they didn't throw to another tight end not named Foster Moreau. They were even throwing Tamir Abdullah. And, so to me, there is no other tight end to be in for terms of usage here. When we look at the Rams tight ends here, Tyler Higbee, Bryson Hopkins, obviously Higbee was a more popular move when Matt Stafford was playing. There was some games, some primetime games, I believe it was a Thursday night game to start the season, correct me if I'm wrong, where Higbee had like 6 or 7 targets in the first half. But now with John or Bryce or Baker in there, what the heck are we going to get out of Higbee? $8,000 on FanDuel, 6.2 on DK, $13 on Yahoo, looking at 5-6 targets, 3 to 4 receptions, about 35 yards. When we look at the kickers, nothing jumps off the page. Dan Carlson, Matt Gay. If you're with me, we're going to pick a side here, is it going to be over or is it going to be a field goal game? Then that's up to you to kind of build around which ideal you're thinking of. Personally, I'm staying away from the defenses as well to a certain extent, right? When we look at this one, the Raiders would be the move. The Rams are 31st in terms of giving up points to opposing DSTs here. The Raiders, $10,000 on FanDuel, 5.2 on DK, $13 on Yahoo. I have the Vegas Raiders to win this one, and it's going to be stunning and shocking, but I like the over. You're right, that opened at 44.5. We'll go the over on that one, and now before kickoff, it looks like it's going to be 43.5. Maybe they shave that half a point between now and then, and we're looking at a 43, right there, over under. I have the Vegas Raiders to hang 30 plus points in this one. 31-24 is the final, and you're like, where are these points going to come from? And I did my best to kind of articulate where, but when we look at the Rams, it is just so tough to see this team winning another game the rest of the season, and they'll hang in this one. McVay is an offensive, can we say he's an offensive master? But anyways, he's good at making adjustments. So wherever there's a hole, he'll do his best to try to fill it with player personnel. But give me the Vegas Raiders to win this one, 31-24, and a few betting trends. Raiders 4-1 against the spread their last 5 games following an against the spread win. Rams 2-6 against the spread in their last 8 home games. The over is 4-0. The Rams last 4 games on turf. And the over is 4-1 in the Raiders last 5 Thursday games. So you're looking at over is kind of a trend here. So that's what I got for you. Be good, be safe, bet responsibly. The Vegas Raiders win 31-24. I'll see you again soon for Sunday Night Football. Be good. Talk to you later. Bye.